CRM system is going to be one of the most important component for your architecture to enable the customer experience. The right CRM enables the customer experience and the architecture that you are going to be needing for your operational processes. But what are the top CRM systems and how to choose one? That's exactly what we are going to be discussing in this video. Hello, everyone. My name is Sam Gupta. I'm principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP and digital transformation consulting firm. Help our clients with ERP selection, digital transformation strategy, any sort of system selection, including your CRMs, and the project recoveries for any of the digital transformation engagements. So let's go back to today's topic, which is going to be top 10 CRM systems. But before we look at the list, we are going to be looking at the criteria that we utilize in compiling this list. So, number one thing that we typically look at is going to be okay, whether your data model and the object model is going to be aligned with the industry in which you are going to be implementing the CRM system or not. Then, the other factors that we look at is how deep are going to be the capabilities, whether we are talking about supporting the pre-sales processes, quoting processes, the configuration process, or we are talking about some of the B2B, the customer centric portals. So, all of that is going to be included as part of your CRM workflow. And CRM systems have come a long way. They started with very basic CRM capabilities, but today the CRM systems are extremely thick in terms of what all they can do and the data and the insights that they can provide overall in terms of the customer workflows. So the other factors that we look at is going to be, how cloud native the solution is going to be, how built their ecosystem and the community is going to be, how many different options do they have to support for the smaller versus the large companies. If they are going to be targeted for larger companies, then do they have options for these smaller companies, or is the object model going to be overwhelming for them? What about pricing structure? Is that going to be aligned with your smaller companies, or is it only friendly for the larger companies? So we look at all of those factors and we compile the list. So now let's look at the list. So number 10 on our list is going to be the system called SAP C4 HANA. And SAP C4 HANA is really targeted at the enterprise centric customers. And typically they are going after all of those SAP installations where SAP is going to be present as ERP. And traditionally, if you look at the CRM market, Salesforce was winning big time over SAP customers, at least in the CRM play. And that's why SAP had to come up with the strategy for their CRM. They were never into the CRM game overall from the corporate strategy perspective, but then they acquired a lot of different companies, and now they are trying to position the sales cloud and the service cloud and the marketing cloud as part of their offering, but their sales, marketing, and the service cloud is not going to be as strong as some of the other vendors that we have on the list. They are going to be extremely strong for the financially regulated industries. When you are going to be a public centric industry, you are going to be requiring very different CRM workflow than your average tech startup versus the marketing startup or the manufacturing company. So some of the strength for SAP C4 HANA is going to be it integrates with some of the best of breed software that are available in the market, and that is going to be through SAP's acquisition, and that is going to be Qualtrics, which is for the customer experience analysis, and this is going to be for, let's say, if you are gathering a lot of different data as part of your customer service, and then you are gathering a lot more data from your employee, you can design a lot more enterprise grade workflows in gathering the data. You can design very complex workflow for your surveys, and you can gather all of that data and utilize that data as part of your customer experience workflow. You can improve your products, you can improve the customer experience or the employee experience. That's where Qualtrics is going to be very handy. Now they have the other solution called Gigya, and Gigya was the centralized identity platform when you are going to have the omni-channel experience and you are looking for the centralized identity of the customers so that you can tie all of that together and serve them as part of your one customer, whether you are going to be a company that is going to be present in, let's say, 100 different countries, and then tying all of those customer record to one instance is extremely hard. So Giga is really positioned towards that. So SAP C4 HANA has very deep capabilities for enterprise-centric CRM workflow. And the other offering that they have is going to be the customer data cloud, which is going to be your cross-channel personalization and data. They acquired a company called Immersis, and that is going to provide all of those capabilities as well. And then they are also going to be integrated with your core SAP products. So since both of the products are going to be from SAP, you are going to have much tighter integration overall of the products. The data model is going to be aligned as well. So even if you are integrating yourself, then the integration is going to be easier. It's going to be cheaper. It's going to be less risky. Now, the other strength for SAP C4 HANA is going to be integration with enterprise grade CPU and the sales performance management tool. When you are going to be a 10 people startup, then you don't have to worry about the sales compensation management, sales performance management, sales territory planning as much. But when you are going to have 10,000 or 5,000 reps, and then the sales compensation is driven by many different factors, then you are going to be requiring that tight integration in the data model to be integrated with your CRM workflows. And that's where you are going to get a lot more enterprise grade features as part of your SAP C4 HANA suite. Now, the weaknesses for SAP C4 HANA is going to be the marketing automation. They don't have some of the leading marketing automation players as part of their portfolio. So you are probably going to be utilizing a third-party software. For example, in case of Salesforce, you are going to have Pardot. HubSpot is another one. Then Marketo is with Adobe. So those are some of the marketing automation software that companies use. But when you are going to be on SAP S4 HANA, you are probably aiming for the best of breed architecture. So you might be utilizing the systems from other vendors. But then those data model challenges, the integration challenges are going to be there. If it is from the same vendor, you are probably not going to have those issues. Now, the other weakness for the SAP C4 HANA is going to be, while the integration is a strength, but the tight integration with SAP products and the SAP dataset could be a drawback as well, because your data model is not going to be as friendly that you are going to find in some of the systems that don't really integrate those financial processes as part of the ERP. And when you look at the sales and marketing teams, they don't have to worry about if they have to worry about the financial and operational workflow. Sometimes their workflow becomes thicker. The data entry is going to be far more, and they typically don't like that. They want to focus only on the sales and marketing workflow, even though it means that you are probably losing the financial insight that you probably need for your operations. But from the training perspective, from the speed perspective, most sales and marketing teams are comfortable with not integrating the operational data set as part of your CRM workflow. For these reasons, SAP C4 HANA ranks at number 10 on our list. Now, number 9 on our list is going to be Oracle CX Cloud. And Oracle CX Cloud has very different capabilities overall from the SAP C4 HANA perspective. If you look at the comparison of their offerings, for example, Oracle CX Cloud is going to be far deeper overall in the marketing automation and ad spend tracking. And that is going to be typically applicable either in B2C industries or media communication industries where your ad spend tracking is going to be super critical. And Oracle has very deep presence in the media and publishing verticals. And that's the reason why their marketing automation and the CRM workflows are heavily influenced by what your media, telecom, and publishing companies are going to be needing. Then Oracle also has very deep digital asset management or digital experience platform capabilities. Now, these DAM and DXP capabilities are going to be relevant in some of the other industries as well. Now, you are not going to find as deeply integrated DAM capabilities as part of your SAP S4 HANA suite. So if your marketing team is very content heavy, then, and by the way, if you are going to be regulated and you have to worry about GDPR compliance, etc., then your DAM capabilities and the DXP capabilities in the regulated fashion and the approval is probably going to be really tricky overall. And that's where the Oracle CX Cloud really shines with those capabilities. The other capabilities that Oracle CX Cloud is going to have, the enterprise grade CPQ and sales performance management software. Now, the perspective is going to be very different because Oracle typically likes to play in that telecom, media publishing verticals, oil and gas, energy. Those are the verticals for Oracle CX Cloud. So, most of their products are going to be heavily influenced from those industries. So, when you look at the CPQ, you need to figure out, okay, whether you are going to get the features that are going to be relevant in your industry. So make sure you include that as part of your evaluation. Now, the weaknesses for CX Cloud is going to be their UI is going to be extremely clunky because it's a legacy product. They have acquired many different products. They have tried to integrate that as part of one bundle. So it's going to feel very patchy experience overall when you are going to be using those products. But at least they are integrated. So that's a plus for Oracle. But the experience is not going to be as seamless as you are going to find in some of the other products if they have designed it themselves. For example, Salesforce. Even though Salesforce has acquired a lot of different products, but they try to make the experience seamless when you are going to be using their products. Now, the Oracle CX Cloud is not going to have as strong the B2B centric capabilities. And when you look at the B2B centric CRM workflow, there are going to be many different capabilities. For example, let's say if you talk about the budget management for your channel partners, those capabilities might not be as strong when you have to track the budget over the period of time, when you are tracking your B2B customers and they might be selling to end consumers. So those capabilities are not going to be as strong as part of your Oracle CX Cloud. Now, Oracle CX Cloud is also not going to be as strong with the regulated and audit centric industries. That's where SAP C4 HANA is going to be slightly stronger, just because SAP C4 HANA is primarily targeted for the Europe market, and there the compliance issues are going to be far greater from the CRM perspective. So when you are looking at those regulated and the audit centric capabilities, Oracle CX Cloud is not going to have those capabilities natively. You might need to develop or you might need to customize the experience as part of Oracle CX Cloud. Having said that, Oracle CX Cloud is still a very strong CRM product for large enterprises, especially in the media telecom verticals. And for that reason, it ranks at number 9 on Now, number 8 on our list is going to be the product called Zendesk Sell. And Zendesk is a very small product that's targeted for very small companies that are going to be in that QuickBooks space. So now the Zendesk is not really targeted for very large companies. And some of the strengths for Zendesk, and by the way, Zendesk is a very new player. They did really well in that customer service space. And now they have introduced a new offering for their CRM or Sell. So one of the strengths that Zendesk is going to have is going to be the simple interface for startups. If you look at the interface, it's going to feel as if you are looking at some of the easier CRMs. Now, the other strength for Zendesk is going to be, it might be easier for teams that might be already familiar with Zendesk Service Desk. And if you have that, then obviously it's going to feel far more natural because they are developed and they integrated by the same team. So if you are already very heavy on your customer service processes and you are not as heavy in your CRM processes, then it could be a great fit. Now, some of the weaknesses for Zendesk is going to be that the Sell app is coming from one of the recent acquisition that they have had, part of base CRM. So right now, if you look at the way the products are built, they are not necessarily connected from the data model perspective. The only thing you can do is you have to still switch on different apps when you are moving from your CRM to your service. So they are not going to be seamlessly integrated. So even though the UI may be elegant, but the experience is not going to be as elegant. It's going to come across as patchy because you are going in a completely different app and you are not going to see all of the data that you might have in one app to the other. The other weaknesses for Zendesk is going to be the marketing automation capabilities are not going to be as strong as some of the other CRM systems, such as your Salesforce or HubSpot. The other weaknesses for Zendesk is going to be it is not really designed for large sales teams. When sales planning, territory reporting is going to be relevant for you, that's when you are going to outgrow your Zendesk platform and you need to move to something else. For example, Salesforce or HubSpot or any other or Microsoft CRM. Having said that, Zendesk Sell is a still very strong product for startups, and that's the reason why it ranks at number 8 on our list. And Monday.com is a recent entrant overall in the CRM space, and it's a very customizable platform. Initially, it's targeted the project management companies or the project managers. So it had very customizable project management workflows. And now Monday.com is moving towards the CRM play as well. So some of the benefits of Monday.com is going to be that you are going to feel as if you have better customizability for the business users, meaning you don't really require as much either the customization or configuration experience, data model experience as you are going to require. For example, in Salesforce, you need to know all of that. But Monday.com is going to feel slightly more intuitive when you are going to be doing all of these customizations. And you are going to feel as if you have far more power on your hands to be able to customize the Monday.com platform. So Monday.com, the other strength is going to be it's going to be better suited for some of the industries where you might have very custom processes. For example, let's say if you look at the insurance verticals or if you look at the real estate verticals, their CRM workflows are completely different. The way their loans are going to move from one stage to the next, the way the real estate contract is going to move from one stage to the next. And that's where Monday.com is going to be extremely handy. But you are going to be losing the control because when you allow the customization, your processes could be all over the place. So you are going to be losing that control. The other strength of Monday.com is going to be in building those automated action as well as the integration. If you need to integrate with some of the other systems, then Monday.com typically is going to be easier. Some of the weaknesses for Monday.com is going to be risk of overcomplicating processes, and it's primarily a project management tool. It's not really the CRM. It's not really designed for CRM workflows, and then you might also face data integrity issues because the data model is not really supported as part of the native architecture for your CRM workflows. But having said that, Monday.com could be a great tool for the startups that might not be willing to invest in a CRM tool. And for that reason, it ranks at number 7 on our list. Now, number 6 on our list is going to be the CRM called Sugar CRM. And Sugar CRM has always been slightly more penetrated than some of the other CRMs that we have on our list. And the reason for that penetration was always their community and the open source edition. But open source does not mean that you are not going to be paying for the infrastructure hosting. So yes, you can get the code base for free, but typically the major cost driver always is going to be that infrastructure support patching. And that's how Sugar CRM makes money with their CRM offering. So the strength for Sugar CRM is going to be that on-prem and the community edition that you might get it for free and that you might deploy on your systems if you want to do that. So if you're a startup and if you want to deploy it on your desktop or if you might have in-house server, then Sugar CRM could be a great fit. And you might have an IT person who might be able to manage it. Then it could be a great fit. The other strength for Sugar CRM is going to be they have a lot of deep functionality overall in terms of building the ad workflows. For example, let's say if you're not familiar with how ads are going to work on Google, then you can utilize Sugar CRM in building those ads right inside your CRM platform. But I'm not sure why you would do that. Typically, when you're spending so much on your ads platform, then you might want to familiarize yourself with the Google Analytics or the Google platform and run your ads there because you are going to get far greater visibility and control in those platforms than doing it in your CRM. The merit could be there overall in this integration is you are probably going to get this data from your ad platforms to your CRM so you could analyze it. But overall, from the operational workflow perspective, you should probably be looking at the Google itself. But that's a great strength for Sugar CRM if you want to utilize that capability. And the other strength is going to be, let's say if you're a very cost sensitive organization, you don't want to spend on software and then you have your in-house hardware that you want to deploy on, Sugar CRM could be a great option. Now, the weaknesses for Sugar CRM is going to be the clunky interface. Obviously, it's open source community edition, so the experience is not going to be as great. The interface is very clunky. It might take longer for your salespeople to enter the data. So payout might be similar, whether you are going to be using a paid offering or you are going to be using a free offering. Now, the other limitation that Sugar CRM is going to have is the reporting. The reporting is not going to be as strong as some of the other paid offerings that we have on the list. And the final weakness is going to be, even though it is open source, you might actually end up spending more for the open source because of the patching, the upgrading, the amount of time it is going to take to manage the workflow. So again, if you do the financial analysis, you might end up paying same, even though you are not paying for the software. But having said that, a lot of companies still like Sugar CRM, and that's the reason why it ranks at number 6 on our list. Pipedrive CRM is very well penetrated in the startup space, in the smaller business segment. Now, the strength of Pipedrive CRM is going to be the workflow automation, and the look and feel for Pipedrive is going to be very similar to how HubSpot is designed, and some of the things such as easy customization of reports and the goal setting is going to be far more handy in the Pipeline CRM compared to some of the other CRM on this. The weaknesses for Pipedrive is going to be the data structure is not going to be as strong as you are going to find in platforms such as Salesforce, and you are probably going to have data integrity issues. You might run out of options when you are going to be developing thicker CRM workflows that you might need for your enterprise. Now, the other weakness is going to be CSV import and export features. Typically, when you look at systems such as Salesforce, they are going to have far deeper, import and export capabilities to be able to manage your data. But in the case of Pipedrive, they are probably not going to be as intuitive. They are not going to be as strong. Now, the Pipedrive is really designed for the startups. It's not really designed for the larger organization. The underlying data model does not support the larger organization. When you are going to be looking at the territory planning scenarios, when you are looking at complex CRM workflows, that's where you are going to outgrow your Pipedrive CRM. And for that reason, Pipedrive ranks at number 5 on our list. Number 4 on our list is going to be Zoho CRM. And Zoho, the way the data model for Zoho is designed, it's very similar to Salesforce. Even though Zoho is targeted for slightly more services-centric companies, marketing agencies, software development firms, they are the ones that really like Zoho because they are going to get far more operational capabilities as part of your Zoho suite, and it's not going to be as expensive as your Salesforce or HubSpot. So the strength for Zoho CRM is going to be the workflow for data quality, and the data quality is going to be inbuilt as part of the CRM. The underlying data model supports similar workflow as your Salesforce, so the workflow is going to be far tighter. You are not going to have as much data integrity issue, and you can probably build very complex CRM workflows. You might not be able to get as much ERP data as part of your workflow, but still you can build the workflow, at least for the service-centric organization. The other strength for Zoho is going to be Zoho Creator, which is very strong overall from the workflow automation perspective. Similar things as what ServiceNow is doing. So Zoho Creator is very strong overall in developing the workflow or apps on top of the other existing offerings that you might have with Zoho, and that's going to be your HCM, CRM, etc. And that's where Zoho is going to be really strong. The weaknesses for Zoho is going to be the territory management and sales planning. So when you are going to be far stronger organization, if you're a product-centric organization, commerce-centric organization, Zoho might not be the best fit overall from the CRM perspective, especially if you are going to be a large organization. That's where your Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics CRM is probably going to be superior. But if you are a small, your software development startup or the marketing agency or the service-centric startup, then Zoho is a great solution for you. Now, the other weakness for Zoho is going to be the limited integration options outside of Zoho. Sure, you are going to have platform-centric capabilities, but the ecosystem is not as strong as you are going to find, let's say, in the case of Salesforce. Having said that, Zoho CRM is still a very strong contender in the CRM community, and that's the reason why it ranks at number 4 on our list. Number 3 on our list is going to be HubSpot CRM. HubSpot originally was designed for the marketing automation work. They typically worked alongside your Salesforce. Salesforce did not really have the marketing automation capabilities. They developed the marketing automation capabilities through the acquisition of Pardot. And now HubSpot and Salesforce both can do CRM as well as marketing automation. But HubSpot always used to be far stronger with the marketing automation workflow. Their CRM is still very weak. They offered the CRM for free, but their CRM is extremely limited in their data integrity, the kind of security model that you are going to be needing when you are going to have very complex sales organization. And sometimes you are going to outgrow these features in case of HubSpot when you are going to have even, let's say, 50 or 100 salespeople, because the data model itself is going to be extremely weak in terms of the architecture, in terms of supporting those complex B2B sales and marketing workflows. And that's where HubSpot is going to really struggle. The strength for HubSpot always is going to be that marketing automation is, and the price. And price is going to be far cheaper than your Salesforce, but then you are compromising on the CRM capabilities, the native CRM capabilities that are going to be far deeper in some other solutions. On the weakness for HubSpot CRM is going to be the weak data model for the B2B businesses, especially when you are going to have very complex workflow. You are going to be requiring a lot more customization, a lot more integration overall in enabling those processes inside HubSpot, and that could drive the development dollars on top of HubSpot. Even though it might come across as slightly friendlier, the reason why it is friendlier is because the data model is not strong, and that's why it might appear a little easier. But once you outgrow that, then you are probably going to be needing a robust CRM that can support your regulatory workflow, that can support your compliance processes, as well as supporting the sales and marketing operations. Now, the other for HubSpot is going to be if you have very deep hierarchies. For example, let's say you have the parent-child relationship in your customer hierarchies, but let's say if you have 3 or 4 tiers. For example, let's say if you are dealing with buying groups, the ERP integration with HubSpot is always going to be challenging because the hierarchies that you are going to have inside your ERP are going to be far deeper, and sometimes mapping those in HubSpot is always challenging. The other weakness for HubSpot is going to be the territory management and sales team planning. That is always the weakest in terms of the CRM workflow. So that's going to be another weakness for HubSpot. Having said that, HubSpot CRM is still a very strong solution for some of these smaller startups, and that's why it ranks at number 3 on our list. Now, number 2 on our list is going to be Microsoft Dynamics 365 CRM. And Microsoft 365 CRM has always been one of the strongest CRM contender overall. And the reason for that is because it can support far more complex enterprise workflow. The data model for Microsoft Dynamics is going to be far stronger in terms of the data integrity than your Salesforce. But that is probably the reason why a lot of sales teams don't like Microsoft Dynamics CRM, because you are going to have tight integration of your product with your accounts as well as your opportunities. That integration is not going to be as tight in Salesforce. So Salesforce is slightly easier, but it can still manage those enterprise workflows when you are going to be requiring the tighter integration of your quote or of your prices and the product as part of your CRM workflow. But overall, the strength of the Microsoft Dynamics is going to be, number 1, if you are going to be utilizing other Microsoft products, then Microsoft CRM is going to be far superior because it's going to have native integration and you don't have to spend on the Microsoft integration. The data model is going to be native as well. And then Microsoft has the common data model initiative. So you can utilize that to map all of different apps that you are going to be using in the Microsoft portfolio. The territory management and sales team planning is going to be one of the strongest in the Microsoft world. So if you are a very large sales organization, 500 to 1000 different sales reps, then you probably require either Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics CRM to enable your work. Now, the weaknesses for Microsoft Dynamics CRM is going to be the data model is not as fluid as some of the other CRM systems that we have on them. And it's not going to be as friendly for the CSV import export that you are going to find in systems such as Salesforce, and the marketing automation capabilities are not going to be as strong as you are going to find in systems such as HubSpot or Marketo or Pardot. Having said that, Microsoft Dynamics CRM is a very strong CRM products, for mid-sized to large companies, and for that reason, it ranks at number 2 on our list. Now, number 1 on our list is going to be the system called Salesforce CRM. And Salesforce CRM has one of the best data model overall from the CRM perspective. It also has one of the most vibrant ecosystem if you are trying to find different apps that you need to install as part of your CRM workflow. If you're looking for automation with many different platforms that are not going to have the financial or operational implications, you can find a lot more apps, and that's why sales and marketing teams love it. It also has one of the deepest best of breed ecosystem overall from the CRM perspective. Whether you are looking at just from the sales and service perspective, or from the marketing automation perspective, or from the commerce perspective, all of those capabilities are going to be part of the same portfolio, and you can develop very complex CRM workflows, whether you are trying to support your pre-sales process or post-sales processes. Both of them can be easily developed as part of your Salesforce CRM. And it is one of the most comprehensive to support diverse business model, whether you are B2B, B2C, whether you are commerce or manufacturing. And sometimes those capabilities are going to be far thicker, whether you are going to be regulated, non-regulated. The processes typically vary in all of those sales and marketing organizations, and Salesforce can handle all of that complexity. And the customer data management as well as the sales planning is going to be one of the strongest as well. It is used by one of the most complex sales organizations, and some of the weaknesses for Salesforce is going to be price is always a factor. It is one of the most expensive CRM software out there. So Salesforce is charging for that. They have a slightly limited offering for the SMB as well, but that's a completely different product. It is not going to have as deep capabilities as your enterprise suite. But price is definitely a factor for Salesforce. Not every company out there can afford Salesforce. The other factor with Salesforce is going to be, even though Salesforce is very customizable, the customization is just not as intuitive, because you need the understanding of the data model. And just because the data model is so complex, it requires slightly deeper expertise in doing those customization. Business users cannot do it by themselves. Now, the final weakness for Salesforce CRM is going to be, it might not be the best fit for every industry. So let's say, for example, let's say you are in the real estate or in the insurance industry, and if you have very customized CRM workflow, then Salesforce may not be the best fit, because it will require a lot more customization, development, configuration on top of your core platform. So it might struggle there. On that note, Salesforce CRM is still a very strong CRM out there for most companies, and that's the reason why it ranks at number 1 on our list. If you enjoyed this video, we are going to include a link for the blog that is going to have far deeper analysis of the products listed on this list and the criteria as well. So don't forget to check that out. Also, if you enjoy what I say, you might want to check this podcast on the audio platform as well. We are available on Apple, Spotify, Google. So don't forget to subscribe there. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you don't want to miss any videos. We rely on your comment, insight, analysis when we develop these videos. So make sure you are going to send your analysis and experiences. Next time we revise this list, we are going to include your feedback. On that note, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.